Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be reading the rules book for online dating and specifically the rule number 5. I'm just going to start reading it and wait till everybody else hopefully will join me later. Okay, rule number 5, wait 24 hours to respond. We know some women who respond to many initial emails in nanoseconds, not even minutes, but nanoseconds. They stay on the computer all day as if they were on a fishing expedition, just waiting, just waiting to catch a live one, hoping that a quick response will get the relationship going faster. This is a big mistake. It smacks of desperation. It just doesn't work. When men you hardly know or recently met online hear from you too quickly or too instantly, they will think you have no life, even if your ad and profile states how busy and wonderful your life is. You would think that we're talking about women who don't have much going on. On the contrary, these women are busy doctors, MBAs, and Wall Street analysts who are members of organizations and marathon runners with tons of friends who still manage to email men back in 5 minutes. Unfortunately, these they give men the impression that they are not very busy and much too eager. So to give men the right impression that you are a busy kuau with hobbies and lots going on and hardly any time for chit chat, check your ad related email only once a day. Respond to any email from potential dates met online or offline 24 hours after you receive them. The most successful rules girls say they put off reading men's emails until they're ready to answer them, and in general, limit their time on the computer, forcing themselves to do other activities such as sports and live singles events. There's nothing less effective than women emailing men back in nanoseconds. If your job requires working on a computer all day, fine. That doesn't make it okay to email an instant message man all day. Making men wait to hear from you is a good for you and for them. It creates desire, longing, and anticipation, which are the essence of the rules. They make the chase that much sweeter, and they make every email a man gets from you all the more precious. If a man hears from you too soon and too often, he will get bored before he even meets you or soon thereafter. We know a woman who simply could not abide to this rule. She put up an ad with a photo and felt compelled to email man back right away. Of course, this man poofed. Then her computer broke and she couldn't email anyone for 2 weeks. You wouldn't believe how much excitement and interest this created. When her computer was finally fixed, she went online and found dozens of emails from men who'd responded to her ad and photo. Several of them had even sent repeated emails to her when she didn't respond to their first emails. When she finally went online, she chose to email back a dozen men, many of whom had sent repeated emails. She got back emails like, "Thought I would never hear from you. Figured maybe you met some other lucky guy and left me in the dust. Don't want to lose this opportunity. Please give me your number. Are you free for dinner this Friday night?" This from a man who might have taken weeks to ask for her number had she emailed him back right away. When he thought she wasn't interested, it made him that much more interested, and He suddenly wanted a date. Another man wrote, "Wow, I thought I got dumped. I wrote you 3 times. Sorry about your computer. I was thinking maybe we could get together and I could give you any computer help you need." Thanks to this lucky break, she ended up meeting all 12 guys because she took so long to email them back and is now engaged to one of them. Don't wait to go to the Caribbean for a week or your computer to be on the frizz to follow this rule. LOL. Just tell yourself or a rules minded friend that you will not reply before 24 hours later and then get busy with the rest of your life. This is a good character building exercise like working hard for your boss you don't particularly like or going to the gym when you don't feel like it. Just do it. Or rather, don't do it for 24 hours. Remember, this 24 hours rule is just for the first few crucial months of courtship. As your relationship progresses and things go well with weekly dates and emails, you do not have to wait 24 hours to respond to a man's emails. An hour or two is reasonable, although waiting till the end of the day is even better. If you're home, take a walk, make a phone call, organize your closets. If you're at work, you can certainly find something to do. Call a client, pay a bill, write a memo. You can create some distance between you and that email if you're set your mind to it. Anything is better than emailing a man a minute later. Well, that was a long read, but I think it's wonderful to hear um, how it is important to actually wait for responding any man's emails. Um, this might enrage lots of guys thinking, well, this is the game that the women playing. Why can't she just answer me right away? Why can't she just, give herself a second? I mean, we are expecting this from guys. We want to have an answer in nanoseconds. We want it all the same. But the rules are about very deep understanding that men and women are different. We are different biologically. We're different because the development of a human being made us different. We have absolutely different drives. We have different interests, mostly. That doesn't mean that the equality nowadays gave us the permission to be like men, do the same thing like men. But that's another thing. A guy, for him to have an interest in a lady, he has to absolutely be inspired by her. He has to be able to chase her. And if she takes away you know, all that anticipation, all the waiting from a guy by being too available, to be too quickly to answer, it just kills all the interest in a guy. Even if he thinks that he'd rather prefer her answering him way earlier, like in 5 minutes, that just never works. I mean, in my experience, honestly, it was really all the same when a guy was really interested and I answered because I was at work where it was, I don't know, I had to train, I had to study, I had to do whatever, and I answered like maybe 6 hours later, he was just thrilled to hear from me. Versus when I was chatting back and forth, usually the guy would just disappear into the thin air. And I bet every one of us has made a similar experience. Right? Right, Chi? I'm seeing you online right now. I guess she's listening. All right. So what do you think? What kind of
Hello?
experience?
Hi.
Yeah,
I'm here.
hi.
I was having a hard time unmuting myself.
Oh,
Hi.
yeah, you are
I
muted.
yes,
I'm not sure
I
if
can
you hear. y- okay, you heard me reading, I guess.
I
I'm
didn't
sure
hear
you
the
know the
reading.
rule, right?
Yes, I didn't hear what's the rule? I'm sorry.
Well, the rule is about responding to men's emails 24 hours later for like online dating. It's another book that I was reading. It's called The Rules for Online Dating, I guess. Yeah, that's the title.
Huh. Well, all I could say is that I have had a tendency, and this is something that I can admit to, right? So I can grow. But I have had a tendency to stop doing the rules once I get the guy, which I'm not gonna do anymore. But um I have found myself, responding like 20 minutes later or 30 minutes later, whatever, or just giving in too fast, and then they start acting out, like they start acting as if they already have me or they've won me over, or they
Yeah.
start doing little immature things, and I'm like, why is he acting like this? And I have come to the conclusion that men understand one thing, and that's biology. they don't understand it consciously, but they understand it unconsciously. And so they do understand that the sperm chases after the egg. They know that. And so if I reduce a man to sperm, I know that might sound, morbid for some people, but for me, this is what I have to do. But when I reduce them to sperm, like biology, even spiritually, he who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. When I reduce them to that molecule, like I'm able to understand that the reason why they act out when you give in to them too fast is because they know they haven't earned you. And men don't trust anything they haven't earned because they're kind of
Mm,
bred to be
mm.
competitive and to work hard for things. They're bred to be that way. So when they win something so precious like a woman, like something that can multiply your sperm, like create kids with you, turn your house into a home. When they win something over as powerful as that without having to earn it, they just act out and they don't respect it. And so
Yeah.
I'm just like, real life, kind of responding like 2 hours later, 3 hours later, and things like that. And I am realizing that the respect level is a bit different.
Well, you said 2 or 3 hours later. I think the rule's meant to be done by responding 24 hours later. Or I think additionally to that, I have to mention that we don't answer on weekends. We don't answer past
Right.
5 p.m. until or 6 p.m. until 6 p.m. Sunday night. So that's another additional rule to responding times. I mean, we're talking about online dating. We're not talking about like a guy you met and the night out and then he messaged you next day whatever at 2 p.m. You may respond to him the same day, just not less than 4 hours later. But we're talking about online dating, and online dating is a little, it's another beast to master. And I think responding 24 hours later just shows that you have a life. You have laundry to do, you have work to do, you have friends, you have family, you have other obligations. You're not hanging on your computer or a phone and checking, because I mean sure we can do that, we probably do that, but we're not desperate. And I think if you answer him within a couple hours or even within the same day, he'll think like, wow, she really is like desperate. Like imagine just being on the side of a guy, like instant answering is like, ew, like I don't know if she's popular. She's not popular if she has time to answer me so quick. Yesterday, okay, I have one thing to mention. Yesterday I was out and I met a guy who was on a kind of a date with a new girl, and that girl is my colleague, by the way. So, and he told me while she was not listening, he said, well, this girl, my colleague basically, she responded 2 days later. I thought she's never going to respond. And now he drove for 3 hours by car to my city, to our city, to meet her for the first time. And that's my point. Like, she waited 2 days to respond to him. And what? Did he give up? No, that's my point.
Yeah. You know what? I agree with everything you're saying, but this is what I've learned about men is that nothing a man does means anything unless it really means something. Because a man can do the same thing and not really care for a woman that he does for a woman he truly cares about. But the difference is that his heart is in it. Because I actually was responding to a guy rarely, fast. Because like I said, I had a tendency to stop doing the rules once I like got the guy. I was responding really fast, and he drove 8 hours to see me, but he still acted out. He still was negging. He still was being disrespectful. So it's not the drive, it's the effort, and it's also if the heart is in it, and it's also if you've like been like kind of doing the rules all along, all that stuff, that makes the difference is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one rule, of course, that we're reading. I mean, we're supposed to do all of them. It's obviously we answer in less words than he does, and we
Yeah.
never initiate the contact. We know that. I mean, obviously. I mean, no, I'm not saying that I never heard that relationship did work out when when the girl responded very quick, like within like an hour. So I've heard stories like this. But I do not want to compare a fully rules relationship to any relationship that started out without the rules, because we don't know what's going to happen down the line with this couple.
That's true.
They might
That's
even
true.
marry, they might even have kids and have
Right.
family and live for 10 years together. But down the line, somewhere deep inside of a guy's heart, he will know he did not work hard enough for this woman to get her.
Yeah.
And this is where I see the problem down the line.
Yeah. Right. That's the whole thing, the overall picture. Like one of the things I admire about Michelle Obama is like you could just tell like she doesn't need the rules. Like you can tell she would leave Barack in a second. You could just see it. She just doesn't play. Talking about the Obamas, like you could just tell like she just the way we think Barack is so great, I don't think she feels that way. And and then, my parents, hey, my parents have been married since they were teenagers, and my dad did everything right to court my mom. But, he has a lot of bad behavior, prickish behavior, and he should have been cut off at some point. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of when not to talk
Oh,
about my
okay.
personal life, but I like you're right. You're right about the overall down the line and how you go about the rules all together, and if you accept bad treatment after a while, and right, everything matters.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I'm not saying that rules girls never get divorced. It happens. Life happens. During marriage, things happen, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, in the beginning, it's so crucial to know all the right steps to do or not to do. And it's just
Right.
helpful. I'm not saying you have to stick like 100%. Like, there are
Right.
things, gray area in between, but very little. So it's
Right.
always better to speak to rules-minded girlfriends. We have groups, we have phone calls like right now. We do have a big community, I would say. It's not enormously big, but it's
Right.
not small. Like you can speak it out, talk to somebody. You did not respond, but then there's something come up, you're not sure. We have groups, you can ask a question. I mean, that's wonderful thing about the rules. It's a community as well.
Yeah. Now, y- how do you feel about men who like when they see that you're kind of answering 24 hours later or 4 hours later, whatever, then they uh they sort of start doing the same
they
thing.
assume they assume that you're playing again. That's what you mean, right? Well, if you're like sticking like minute by minute for 24 hours, it never happens that you answer 24 hours exactly. It usually in somewhere in the afternoon, somewhere in during the lunch break. It's never like 24 hours exactly.
No,
It's
no,
a
no.
day and a half.
That's not my point. No, what I'm trying to say is that what happens when they start marrying you and then they're responding to you
They're not
24 hours
interested.
later.
They're not interested. They don't like you. That's it. There's no other answer.
Mhm.
But when you think a guy plays games with you, or you think he's mirroring you by playing that game that we are playing, I mean, maybe you can say it that way. I think it's boundaries, but some say it's game playing. It doesn't matter. When a guy does the same to you, he's not interested. That's it. You can move on to the next bus.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because why would you want a guy like that? Like we are wired different, like we talked before. Like we want security, we want to know what's tomorrow. We're trying to to ensure the safety of ourselves and our kids and our survival of our family. We are driven by security. We want a secure guy who's secure in his commitment to us. So when a guy's playing games, like how is he committed? He's not. So you see it, you observe it, and then you move on, because there are billions of other guys out there who are not like that. You have no time to lose.
Yeah. Mhm. Um, what do
This
you? I'm sorry, somebody's talking.
this
Go
is
ahead.
Julia. Sorry, this is Julia, and I have a
Hello.
question. Hi.
Sure. Hello.
Hi. What do you mean by mirroring? Like, when responding to a message, like a guy mirror, what does that like
Well, what
mean?
mirroring means that somebody like when you look into a mirror, it reflects your, reflection, right? And so what I mean by mirroring is like if I respond 4 hours later and then the guy responds 4 hours later. If I respond 24 hours later, then he responds 24 hours later. It's almost like he's playing the game because maybe he's assuming I am, or maybe he's trying to act as if he's cool, like because he can see I'm not pressed. That's what I mean.
Thanks.
Yeah, in general, I've had some like difficulty to understand that as well. Um, but it's actually very simple. When a guy's interested, he doesn't even care when you respond. He's not going to count the hours in terms of like, oh, I'm gonna pay it back to her. She's so mean. She answered 3 hours later. How dare she? When this is the way he thinks, he's not the right guy for you, and there's no the other explanation. There's no need to analyze like, oh, he's like, he doesn't trust me, and I have to build this trust between us, and all that bullshit. I mean, seriously, that's BS that girls put in their minds, thinking, oh, I'm going to convince him I'm the best and that he can trust me. That he doesn't have to play games for me. Like, no, there's no need. That's not the right guy for you. If he's so sensitive to mirroring you back your responses and timing the way you time, there's absolutely no need to spend more time on such a person.
Yeah. I think that's the difference between like the masculine man versus like the feminine man, because a feminine man is gonna be playing those kind of games. That's another way to weed them out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because that's more so like interpersonally aggressive. Because if a guy is very feminine, that means he doesn't know his power as a man, and that's unsafe to me because you already
Mm.
have a lot of power as a man. Like I was watching this guy, the celebrity guy in an interview recently, and one of the interviewers asked him, "Why do you treat women so badly?" And you know what he said? You're gonna love his answer. He said, well, that's because women have an upper hand in society. He was like, a woman can do so many things and get away with so many things. And he was like, and when men
Oh,
can't, women
gosh.
get, he was like, women get into clubs for free. He was like, women just have so
Oh,
many more
God.
benefits than men. And I'm
Oh,
thinking to
my
myself,
God.
he's very, very dangerous because he doesn't even know his power as a man. We live in a patriarch society. What are you talking about? But
Yeah.
because he's so feminine and interpersonally aggressive, because he also does a lot of like catty things when women upset him. So because he's so feminine, because he has unresolved issues with his mom, he's
Oh,
dangerous
I think
because
I know who
men,
you talk about, but we're not gonna name his
uh-uh.
name, but I think I know who you talk about.
Okay. Well, anyhow, yeah. So it's just like when men don't know their power, to me, they're gonna be playing games, and they're that's unsafe. That is so unsafe because men always have the upper hand.
Dangerous. Yeah, that's dangerous. If they're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, he's so sensitive and oh, like he's gonna be hurt. Oh my God, girl, shut up. He's gonna
Mm-hmm.
dump you by writing you a memo note.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously. That's the
Right.
same guy. He can do that. Like girls
Mm-hmm.
can't bear a thought like breaking up with the guy without explaining to him
Right.
blah. Like guys can just never reach out to you again. They he
Right.
can break up after 5 years. I know a story. Like actually, I worked with this woman. She was married 5 years or something. Beautiful wedding, beautiful couple. Like she's successful, beautiful, stunning woman. Her husband walked out one day from their home. He didn't take anything with him and just
Mm-mm.
disappeared for 2 years. I mean, he reappeared by messaging her something about they have a dog together. But like after months, she was like, "What? Like they
Mm.
can do this stuff,
Right.
okay?"
Right. They can just cut their feelings off, and that's what makes them so I was reading the rules. It says that when you meet a man, you have to understand that he's the ops. Like he doesn't mean that you guys are in war, but that he's the opposition because he has the power to just cut his feelings off and just walk away. They can do this, and so that's why it's very important for that vessel. I think it's called vasopressin or something, which is the male bonding hormone to be released so that they don't do things like that. Just like when oxytocin is released when we bond with them, that they have to have the male hormone to bond with you as well because they can just up and just go. And so it's so important to like be like protecting yourself. I've realized that it's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's why I think 24 hours rule. I mean, it's I think the way we discussed it, it was more into detail, it was more in depth. However, 24 hours is nothing to respond to a guy. If you're a grown-up woman, you have other stuff to do, have responsibilities for your life and survival. Like 24 hours is the bare minimum for him to endure until you answer him. Honestly, like I've had like guys waiting for my answer for like 2 weeks. I had like hundreds messages. Like I don't have time. I'm traveling. I'm working. I'm studying. I have like friends. Like I don't have time for you. And who are you? You are nobody. Like if the guy is really gets okay, so there's another thing. Like women say, or unexperienced rules girls say, well, but if he gets angry, like he got back at me, like saying, why did I take so much time? Like, what am I so busy with? I'm like, girl, you hit delete button when you receive angry messages, any type of them, even like slightly angry, slightly sarcastic. When you hear it
Mm-hmm.
in their messages, this is a sign for you that guy knows no boundaries. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's not going to make you happy. He's gonna bring out this
Mm-mm.
complete stress in you. So you
Right.
hit delete, move on. Seriously, no matter how
Mm-hmm.
handsome he is, like there's no need to persuade him that you were really busy. No,
Right. Right.
no.
You're right. Because I feel like when a man can't control his emotions, and that's a bad sign because what is he going to be like down the line when things get more intense? Like if he's like responding like that before a date, like I went out and I'm starting to cut men off faster. Like I went on a date with this guy. I don't even want to call it a date.
Good.
I'm so glad for the word date zero because this was a zero for real. But he was nice, but he
Yeah.
was socially awkward. It was weird. But I'm proud of myself for just getting out there. I practiced the rules and that's all that matters. And so I just
Right.
like as soon as I got back to my house, I was like, you know what? I don't ever want to see him again. I don't see a connection. I don't even want to be friends with him. And I just like deleted the connection. And then I slightly felt guilty. And I was like, you know what? No, I need to stop this whole little like feeling so sorry for men. It's like you weren't that interested anyway. Who cares? Like I just deleted the connection. And
Mm,
then
mm,
another guy asked me out this week and he asked me for my number first. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable giving my number out so quickly on an app. And then
mm,
he said, "Well, how about we go out for a vibe check? Because clearly you need to feel
mm.
comfortable." I said, "Sure,
Yeah.
that sounds good." So we're going
Oh,
back and
yeah.
forth about, huh?
Yeah, 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 right.
Yeah, we're going back and forth about what's a good time, and he's asking me what time is good for me, and blah 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 blah, and da da da. And then like the day comes, and then guess what he does? He sends me a message, and he says he posts his number in a message, and he goes, "Text me." And so I'm like, so now I know he's playing games. Like, you were playing the whole point of us going out was because I didn't feel comfortable giving you my number. And then you tell me to text you on the day that we were supposed to go out. So I didn't respond and I deleted the connection because now I know that he was trying to trick me into believing that he was going to take me out just so he can get my number. Why? It was to
That
me,
is
it just
so
that's
disgusting.
that's stupid. Yeah, it's like you just want to prove you're just trying to conquer me. That's stupid. And so
Yeah.
I deleted the connection. I mean, it's just like I don't need to say anything. I was watching an interview with a guy on YouTube recently. He was a F boy, so he's no one to take seriously. But one thing he said was that women reject overtly, meaning that we give a reason. We tell men how we feel. We tell them you did
Mm.
this, you did that. And he said, and when men reject covertly, he was like, we'll just cut you off. We won't tell you what happened, why. And when he said that, I was like, wow, like that's real dangerous.
Yeah. When a man doesn't love you, he can become very dangerous. And that's the whole point of the rules. They protect you from men who don't love you. And
Right.
that's why we want to figure out whether he really loves us or not in a very quick way by not, initiating anything. We're postponing or our responses. We're taking our time to get to know somebody, to really, really to get to know somebody in a sort of a distance, taking time. And that's what it looks like when we take time. So yeah, I mean, nowadays we might think, oh, everything goes faster, why not do this and that? Well, because we need to protect ourselves. Like, we are weaker than men. We live in patriarchy, like you said. And so this is our power to not give it all out right away. This is the only power we hold, as much as we can, obviously. That's the whole point of this particular rule in the online dating world. And I think it's amazing. It gave me so much power over my dating life, just knowing this one single rule. I weeded out so many men.
Really? Wow. Huh. That's that's pretty yeah, that's pretty good. It also I wanted to ask today your opinion about like weird men that are just weird, like socially awkward. And cuz a lot of them are online because that's a good place for
Yeah,
them to hide. And so I wanted
yeah.
to know like what's your opinion about those socially awkward weirdo guys?
Well, they will not be very good providers, so I hope you will detect them very quickly and weed out because you cannot live with a man who's socially awkward. How is he
And
going to
weird.
provide for you? How is he going to protect you and your kids? How is he going to do that?
Right.
He's not able to. He has too many fears in his mind that are stopping him from being an active member of a society. He's not going to make a good husband. Period.
Do you think that the 24-hour rule would also weed out the
No,
weirdos?
unfortunately, no, he's not going to. Um, Socially awkward guys, they usually don't even like ask out because they're socially awkward. They're too they have anxiety about this. So they're usually time wasters. So they're gonna
Well,
take a
no, no,
lot
no.
of
I'm not
time.
talking about like socially anxiety or social anxiety or schizoids. I'm talking
Ah,
about like
oh,
because I've gone out with a lot of them. I went out with one this week, and the guy who drove 8 hours, he was socially awkward, but they didn't have social
mm,
anxiety and they weren't schizoids. But they were weird. To me, they were weird. I mean, thank God it was just a one-time meeting, you know?
I think weirdness, like okay, I gotcha. I think weirdness is some sort of a telltale sign for you because you detect it in your mind, right? That you're not compatible with that person. You should not produce children. Something in your gut tells you I'm uncomfortable with this person because of whatever he's doing that's awkward to me. Maybe to somebody else not. Maybe there's some weird person, female person out there who thinks, "Wow, he's amazing. He's exactly like me." That for her it's a man of her dreams. For you not. For you it's
Right.
awkward. You will not be happy with that person. And that's
Right.
why the mother nature tells you do not reproduce with that person. That's it.
Well, I feel like it's the God in me, like because I'm like, I cannot be. I'm not weird, and I'm not socially awkward or schizoid. So, I mean, it wouldn't be my dream
Mm.
guy, like you said. So it's like,
I mean, there are some weird people out there, and they find each other. I mean, how many times do I
right.
see like really weird couples, and they're so happy? But like, I think, oh my God, I would never be even friends with them. But they found each other, and it's so beautiful, isn't it?